talking about this. Give us a little bit insight of the indictments.
So let's talk a little bit about exactly what Mr. Sean P. Diddy Combs is being indicted for.
And in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Oh, I'll tell you about that next time. I have a funny story, but I'll tell you about that another time. But from at least 2008 to the present, Combs led a criminal enterprise that existed to facilitate his abuse and exploitation of women, to protect his reputation, and to conceal his conduct. As part of that criminal enterprise, Combs, along with other members and associates of the enterprise, committed crimes including sex trafficking, which we did define, forced labor, which we haven't gotten into, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and, like his son said, that's the one they missed, obstruction of justice.
Right.
So let's talk about a few of these right now. Forced labor and kidnapping. What could that possibly look like in terms of a criminal organization?
So forced labor, I was looking it up, it could be as easy as you writing a song and don't get paid or do anything for that. They're like, you better do this or else, and you feel like you have no choice.
It sounds like intimidation, which could be part of a RICO charge.
Part of a RICO.
Continue.
So we also talking about kidnapping. There's been instances where...
Wouldn't you consider, and I know this, not to cut you off, but...
Talk to me.
The situation, I'm going a little bit off the cuff here, but I don't want to conflate both cases together, but the video with Cassie, where she is clearly trying to leave his presence, and he assaults her, allegedly on video, and drags her back, wouldn't that still be considered kidnapping because you're restraining her against her will?
You know, I don't know. I won't touch that.
Fair enough.
But what I will say...
I was questioning.
What I will say is when a shorty doesn't want to leave, wants to leave...
Let her go.
And you don't let her go.
That's kidnapping.
That's kidnapping. And I've heard that he's done that several times.
Couldn't it be...
Forcing people to stay.
Couldn't it be as simple as you're not allowed to leave the studio until you finish writing X amount of songs or something else of that nature?
Could it be?
Could it be?
No, I don't think so.
Legally, but we're not lawyers.
Yeah, legally I don't think so, but I think that could also play into the fact of forced labor.
Okay, fair enough, forced labor.
Yeah, so I looked at those things and I was like, yeah, forced labor, kidnapping, obstruction of justice. The funny thing about... You know what's crazy? He was smart in a way. He came to New York trying to turn himself in, and the feds was like, we ain't having that.
He was trying to beat them to the punch?
He was trying to beat them to the punch, and that's also part of the obstruction of justice.
Really? Break that down. I don't know that.
So what was happening is they want to be able to get you, serve you, but if you come in early and you're saying, I want to turn myself in, right, and there's no formal charges, you're trying to look good in the public
you're trying to manipulate the media.
So you're manipulating the media and
which is obstruction of the justice system.
Yeah. You're trying to win over the justice system by doing something that people will be like, but he's trying to turn himself in, but you wasn't formally charged yet, so what are you turning yourself in for?
You're trying to swing the perception in your favor.
In your favor.
Especially for the jury.
Right.
Interesting. I never thought of it like that. Yeah. That does make sense.
So that was
what about the bribery and arson part? The arson I can only link back to an alleged story of him blowing up 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 car.
Right.
That's only what I'm like.
Hey, that's the one. I don't know. Ain't nobody talking about it. Yo, free Diddy.
Whoa, that's a wild clip. Whoa. Wow. Ooh, I'm gonna splice that one up.
Allegedly.
Ooh, no, I'm gonna splice that one up. Put it on repeat. No. You heard it here first, everyone. Free Diddy.
No, I did not mean it that way.
says free Diddy.
I did not mean it. If he's guilty, he's guilty.
If he's guilty.
I listen.
Ooh, man. Dajante's gonna have a ball with that.
If he's guilty,
he's gonna have two of Diddy's balls with that.
Throw the whole book at him if needs be. Have mercy if you need to be. But if he's guilty, he's guilty. But bribery. I want to talk on that one.
Go ahead, the bribery.
Supposedly, and this is where people are saying Tupac's family is looking for lawyers because they used to pay, gang members allegedly for protection or to put hits on people. Allegedly. Right? Or you paying people money to make certain things go away. Like, allegedly, case was dropped with the coach. Allegedly. Could that be a bribe? They didn't say that they settled, but that's not for me to talk about. Allegedly. Yep.
That is true. So, those are his federal indictment charges, at least as of now.
As of now.
When I read that report, this was according to the indictment unsealed. That was the day that the indictment was unsealed. Since then, he's actually had 120 more people come forward.
Wow.
I did want to mention this, and I think that sometimes things can definitely be swayed against him that I don't think are fair.
Right.
I was watching the second Diddy documentary on Tubi for research purposes. I need to know these things. And I didn't like the way that, and this was my TMZ, by the way. I didn't like the way that it was constructed to already make him look guilty without being charged as guilty yet.
Right. A lot of times the media does guilty until proven innocent.
I agree.
When our court system is innocent until proven guilty. I hate how media does do that. You know, I'm not saying I'm for Diddy. What I'm saying is I'm for our justice system doing things rightly. Meaning, don't make the media, because perception is everything.
It is. Especially with the jury.
So even if everything gets dropped, he wins, we're all going to look at him as still an evil monster. Rightfully, could be rightfully so, could not be. But because of how media is swaying things, we were cool just a week ago.
Also, too, and this is something that I continuously see, when you have somebody that is allegedly doing several horrible things and you're constantly putting it in the media, it becomes increasingly difficult for them to gain a fair trial. So how do you give them a fair trial accurately if you can't find impartial individuals?
Right.
Because then it can always be these people were seen consuming content that they should not have been for the case, so now we can't try him. Now we have to overturn the case.
Right.
So if he is actually a monster like you're alleging him to be, the case has to get thrown out because the jury was contaminated. Now we have to do the whole thing all over again, which increases his chance of beating the case. So the people that are making him to seem like a monster, I don't always feel like they have I don't feel like they have the victim's interest in heart. They're just doing it for money.
And if he's a monster, he's a monster. But let the courts finalize, and then we can add our opinion. I believe, if I'm looking at it, it's not looking good, baby.
It's not looking good.
It's not looking good.
You think he's getting out anytime soon?
I don't believe he's gonna get life, and I don't believe he's gonna get 20 years. I feel like it's gonna be a 10-year sentence, and comes home in 4 or 5 years.
But even with that,
6.
He's going to be drowning in litigation because if he's had 120 more cases come forward since.
A lot of civil court.
And then now see, here's where it starts to get in a little bit of kangaroo court nonsense. They got the Diddy hotline. What is it, like 1-800? It's like 1-800-200, something like 7474, something like that. You can literally call a Diddy hotline and call somebody and tell them that Diddy has done XYZ to you. Now,
yeah, that's wild.
In the day and age that we live in, you know you're going to get some 11, 12-year-olds calling in and saying that, oh, Diddy did this to me when I was 9 years old. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you even try somebody with that type of nonsense?
Right.
I don't see how that could actually happen. Just the idea that, like, imagine if when O.J. Simpson was being tried, and you can call and say, oh yeah, my sister was also killed by OJ. Like, what? Like, obviously it's not the same thing.
It's wild, yes.
But just the idea that you can call a hotline and say that somebody has done something to you, put me on the case too. I'm like, that's good, but I think we could use it a bit more for other cases, not just a mass media frenzy.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
No.